History didn't begin where you were told. Before kings, before writing, before modern civilization, ancient records describe a world that already existed. Not primitive, not chaotic, but organized, advanced. And then, suddenly, gone. Modern history places the beginning of civilization around 3,000 years before the Common Era. That is where writing appears. That is where timelines begin. But that is not where humanity started. That point in time is where history restarted. Across the ancient world, cultures that never met tell the same story. They speak of an earlier age, a forgotten era, a world before recorded time. The Sumerians described a time before the Great Flood. The Egyptians recorded dynasties that ruled before the first pharaoh. Hindu texts describe vast cycles of civilization, rising, collapsing, restarting. Modern history calls these accounts myth, but myths do not repeat the same structure across continents by coincidence. The Sumerian king list describes rulers who reigned not for years, not for decades, but for tens of thousands of years. Modern scholars say this is symbolic, but symbolism does not explain why the list changes suddenly after a catastrophic flood. Before the flood, reigns are impossibly long. After the flood, reigns become human. The Egyptians recorded something equally strange. They spoke of a time when gods and semi-divine rulers governed the land before human kings. To modern historians, this is legend, but to the Egyptians, it was history. Hindu scriptures go even further. They describe ages of humanity lasting hundreds of thousands of years. Each age ends in destruction. Each new age begins with survivors. Different cultures, different languages, different continents, yet the same pattern. An advanced age, a sudden collapse, a rebuilding. History does not slowly appear. It arrives abruptly, as if something older was erased. Nearly every ancient civilization preserves a memory of global catastrophe, floods that swallowed cities, fire from the sky, earth-shaking destruction. In Mesopotamia, the flood ends the age of the gods. In biblical tradition, it wipes out the world. In Hindu texts, it resets time itself. In Mesoamerican myths, previous worlds are destroyed before the current one. Modern explanations say these stories are symbolic, but symbolism does not explain why ancient flood stories match real geological events, events that occurred at the end of the last ice age. Symbolism does not explain why ancient maps show coastlines hidden beneath ice long before modern exploration. Symbolism does not explain why advanced astronomical knowledge appears suddenly at the beginning of recorded history. The survivors of catastrophe do not rebuild from nothing. They rebuild from memory. They carry fragments of knowledge forward: geometry, astronomy, engineering, navigation. This explains something modern history struggles with: why massive stone structures appear fully developed, why they do not show centuries of trial and error. The pyramids do not begin small and imperfect. They appear precise, aligned, mathematically complex. Ancient monuments across the world align with stars, with solstices, with planetary cycles. This knowledge should have taken centuries to develop, yet it appears instantly. History assumes progress is linear, but reality is cyclical. Civilizations rise, civilizations fall. Knowledge is lost, then rediscovered. Catastrophes erase libraries, cities, entire cultures. Stone survives, paper does not. When the world resets, history does not start over. It continues, quietly, hidden in fragments. This creates a problem for modern timelines. If an advanced civilization existed before recorded history, then humanity is far older than we are taught. And if humanity has collapsed before, then collapse is not hypothetical, it is precedent. This is why official history is cautious, not because ancient accounts are meaningless, but because they challenge the idea of constant progress. They suggest humanity is not the first, just the latest. The most disturbing possibility is not that an ancient civilization existed, it is that it ended suddenly, and those who came after forgot, or chose not to remember. History has a starting point because something erased what came before it. The past does not disappear, it gets buried, and sometimes it gets rewritten. The question is not whether a lost age existed, the question is why we stopped talking about it. Subscribe to Before Things Changed, because history didn't start where you think, it restarted.